Hello, welcome to the second episode of Help the Poor. We're going to be looking at the second go around the A section this time round. The first video that I did on the first A section, there's a lot of pentatonic and blues scale language that's in that. Lots and lots of slides and legato, other legatos, so hammer-ons, pull-offs, bends. Definitely worth a look at taking a look at that because there's a lot of blues terminology in there, a lot of blues vocabulary, so it's worth just getting that stuff under your fingers so that you can use it in your own solos. There wasn't a lot of exoticism in that first A section. The only thing that was a little bit out of the ordinary was the little lick that he did over the B flat 9. Okay, which was kind of, I mean, you could see it as a Lydian dominant kind of move that he was doing, but really I think he was just kind of thinking in an arpeggio format, so he was just thinking about a B flat 9 arpeggio, but it's just that note, that E note there, that kind of makes me think that it might have been a Lydian dominant thing, especially given Robben's background in jazz. So this time we're going to be looking at the second A section. When I'm talking bar numbers from the transcription that's on the website, I'm talking from the beginning of the second A section. So if I say bar 6, that's 6 bars in from the beginning of the second A section, if that makes sense. So again, it's mainly pentatonic for a little while, and then we get into the altered scale, but we'll look at that in a bit. So here's the first the first little phrase that he plays. Okay, so that first phrase that he played there, that's a tricky little phrase there, and just because of that little bend at the end. So it starts just before the beginning of the second A section, so you've got that little screamer. So that's quite tricky, that little bit there, so make sure that you're practicing that to make sure that you get it in time. It took me a little while when I first learnt this solo to get that kind of nice and fluid. Apart from that, it's just pentatonic language again, so there's nothing really out of the ordinary there. We're in the E minor position again. That's from the Cage terminology. Ask me in the comments below if you don't understand what that is. So this next little lick that he plays, it starts, I can hear it with a pre-bend. It's kind of up for debate as to whether everyone thinks that it is a pre-bend or not, but I hear it as like that. So now the next part that he plays after that, he's moving down from the A minor position of the minor pentatonic scale or blues scale. He's moving down into this position here. So down into that kind of like, that's like the okay, so going from the A position into the C position. So just be aware that you need to be looking at your fingering and how that's going to affect how you're moving between them. So, okay, so you can see there, I'm sliding back with my third finger there. Okay. Now the next bit here, the next lick, is a little bit tricky as well. So let's look at that. Okay, so here. Okay, so you've got to have some nice controlled movement with your fingering here. Make sure that you're moving from this C position up into the A position. There's some open strings there, which is a little bit country. Okay. You could always almost imagine that in a country tune. Now, the next bit that he does here, so we've got a little blues curl there, and then a full bend, a full tone bend there. So make sure that you can differentiate between a blues curl, like that, and also a semitone bend, going from like that to a full tone bend. Okay, so you could always practice like that. making sure that you can get everything, the intonation in all of those bends absolutely perfect. So okay, so this is the one before the altered lick, the dreaded altered lick. Just again, more blues scale terminology, more blues vocabulary for you to put into your lick library. It is quite fiddly, so if you can see that, it's very quick. Okay, and he's also kind of blues curling that off the end of it. Sorry. Okay, and then he's bringing back that that little phrase from the beginning. If you remember the phrase from the very beginning of the solo, so he's bringing back that phrase again, and then setting it up for the next lick. So let's look at the next lick. So this lick requires a little bit of attention. So as I said at the beginning, altered scale. So the altered scale is basically a mode of the melodic minor. So it's the 7th mode of the melodic minor. So that would make it the B flat melodic minor. Okay, so the B flat melodic minor is basically a major scale with a flat 3rd, if that makes sense to you guys. Ask me in the comments below if you're confused about what that is, or private message me and I can give you a little rundown of what that all means, all that terminology. So with the altered scale, you've basically got root, flat 9, sharp 9, 3rd, flat 5th, flat 13 and flat 7. I'm reading that off of my little script so that I don't get that wrong. And you've got pretty much every note in there is altered apart from the 3rd. So that gives it a really outside sound, and it's perfect over a dominant chord. So over this one, we're doing it over an A7 chord or an A7 sharp 5, and that with the sharp 5 or flat 13, there's two ways of looking at that note. They can call it a sharp 5 or a flat 13. I kind of see it a little bit like the word colour. It means the same thing, but it depends whether you're coming from America or whether you're coming from England as to how it's spelt, whether it's spelt with a U or without a U. So in this case, we're calling it a flat 13. In the chord, it's called a sharp 5. Slightly confusing, but just go with it. So he's picked that scale because the chord we can describe that chord with the altered scale. So B flat melodic minor, and it's the 7th mode, and we're using it's called the A altered scale because every note is altered in it. Okay, so here's the scale. And then coming back to it, the little lick, lick that he plays. So let's just take a look at that in really slow motion. Okay, so he's going from, he's got like a little lead up. Okay, so he's going kind of like upper, it's basically, it is up an arpeggio. Pretty much. He kind of follows the scale, and then skips a few notes, and then goes all the way up to the top there. So we're kind of like in a flat 9, sharp 5 arpeggio, okay? And then coming back down the other side of it, basically. It's a nice little kind of phrase that he's playing there. There's a lot of a lot of speed, a lot of dexterity is going to be needed to get that correct. So make sure you slow it down and then gradually speed it up. So after that, the rest of the solo is mainly pentatonic. So you've got, after that, kind of using the ninth there again, and then up to here. Now this bit here, let's just take a look at this in slow motion, the next part. So what he's doing here is he's utilizing the semitonal nature of the blues scale there, but he's doing it in bends in a really cool way. So what he's doing goes up to the 16th fret, bends up a semitone, and then goes down to the 15th fret, bends up another semitone, and then plays the 15th fret as normal. So. And he's using a pivot note there, that D, in between to kind of draw it all together. And then at the end of it, you've got the. And then he's going into that note there to line up with the next chord. So that's a really good example of following the changes, which Robben's really good at doing, and that's something he would have learned from the jazz tradition. So. Have fun with this. Make sure that you slow it down. I've got the backing track if you want it. The transcription is on the website. Have fun with it, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.